Hello, everyone. It is a Wednesday. In fact, it is Wednesday, January 14th already. We're almost halfway through the month of January in 2026. My name is Tim Dennis. I'm the host of your supernatural news and Parashare right here on the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio, 20 years strong. 2006 to 2026. I think I've given you the full resume now. Thank you so much, folks, for tuning into Darkness Radio here in our 20th year. Supernatural news today. What more have I got to say? We've got stories galore here and many, many of them. In fact, we're going to pay tribute today to the great Eric von Daniken and much, much more today. We also have your Parashares today. Boy, oh boy, the Gateway Project. When I said Gateway Project, you guys responded. We've got Parashare galore today about some of you who have claimed that you were involved in the Gateway Project. We're going to go through that and much, much more. But first, I want to bring in my co-hostess. Ladies and gentlemen, I've got a surprise for you. Ladies and gentlemen, she is our siren of the supernatural, our queen of our paranormal. Here she is from the mitten right here. I can point it out on my hand because it's 5 fingers and my thumb, and then I just go like this right here in my hand. Ladies and gentlemen, here she is, live and in living color, Mallie Fox. Hi, Mallie.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
How you doing?
You got it right there.
Yeah, it's right there. See your hand. There's your hand right there. See? Yeah, see? Yeah. I can see what's all that you got in the back. See, you have a spooky background. I got a goofy background. I look like Fred Sanford here. I got all my junk in the background. It's just
gotcha. This is my office. It's
wow.
pink.
Look at that. Yeah. You are our queen of the macabre back there, aren't you?
I do like my pink.
Yeah, I see that. It's very cool. It's very cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So if you guys are watching on video, you see Mallie today.
Hi.
Thank you.
I know, and I'm sorry I made you wait. I'm like, just give me some time. I'm actually I'll be on camera. I got to figure out this lighting thing.
That's okay. Good things come to those who wait.
Yes. Because when I first turned on the computer, I was like, what? I was like, bright. Woo!
No, that's okay. You know what? I got to thank Travis for my setup. Travis was like, you know what? You need a ring light. And I was like, yeah, I do. I do need a ring light. So he shipped me one.
That was very sweet of him.
Yeah. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known what to do. I'm a radio guy. I'm not a TV guy. I have no idea. He's like, you need a ring light, brother. So he sent me one. So that's how you ended up getting video out of me. Otherwise, I'd be stuck in the Stone Ages. I'd probably just have my photo up too. It's probably all you'd get. So there you go. It's funny how people kind of drag us kicking and screaming. We didn't drag you, Mallie, kicking and screaming, but I'm just saying that people drug me kicking and screaming into this deal. I didn't want to be on camera.
Yeah, we had to get with the times.
Yeah, I think I look like a 3-toed sloth on camera. So yeah, I'm nothing special. So, you know. And I always get, your voice doesn't match your face. I get a lot of that. Yeah. So it is what it is. Yeah. Big show today, Mal. Big show today. Huge loss in paranormal supernatural with Eric von Daniken dying over the weekend. The Chariot of the Gods author and the man who changed the way that we look at the supernatural, the way we look at pseudo-history, pseudo-archaeology, pseudo-science. People throw that out there when they put Eric von Daniken out there. Some people say his theories were out there, but he was also the theory that says maybe we came from Mars and we're seated here, right? Those theories. X-Files took and cited him. You know, I mean, there's some pretty huge theories that Eric von Daniken put out there. But he lived a good long life into the age of 90. So
wow.
Yeah, 90 years old, right? Eric von Daniken was here in the Twin Cities many times. In fact, Scotty Roberts brought him in with his conventions. So yeah, but yeah, telling you it's a huge loss for the field, that Von Daniken will not be, I guess, with us anymore to deliver some of those amazing talks and talk about some of those theories, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've got video, of course, but it's just one of those things where you think, well, what other knowledge, as we go along with the times and things we find out with science, how would Von Daniken, form his opinions otherwise,
Mm-hmm.
right? To his other theories. So, um, there's a little development in the Conjuring house stuff. So we're going to talk about that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Jason came out with a video the last couple of days, trying to kind of tell people to be patient, right? Be patient.
Mm-hmm.
There's all these stories. We have a story here in front of us, as a matter of fact, that we'll talk about a little bit later. Sure, things are unfolding, but let's not jump the gun, folks. But yeah, there's a story out there that, yeah, Jason tried to buy the Conjuring house outright. We'll talk about it today. And we'll separate fact from fiction. A man was charged with trying to steal 100 human skeletons in Pennsylvania. This was a huge story that people sent me this week, Mallie, just over and over again. So we'll talk about that. Yeah, people were excited, I guess, that stealing skeletons is a huge thing. No, it's a big thing, I guess. And believe it or not, and throw your money on it, there's people that think, and I guess, I don't know, this may be a bet that's coming up on DraftKings. I have no idea, that Jesus may come back this year.
Okay.
we'll throw that in our kitty for today as well. So that's all coming up. But first, let's talk about Von Daniken for a moment as we get into our interstellar news here, Mallie. Chariot of the Gods author Eric Von Daniken has passed away at the age of 90. The best-selling Swiss author, who was one of the architects of the ancient aliens concept, has sadly passed away. Von Daniken originally rose to fame in 1968 following the publishing of his most celebrated work, Chariots of the Gods, a book detailing the idea that ancient civilizations such as the Egyptians and Sumerians were gifted advanced technologies from extraterrestrial visitors thousands of years ago. I think they missed a word there. It didn't sound right, but okay. It was this, he argued, that enabled them to build ancient wonders such as the pyramids. Okay, I get what word they missed here. They said that Egyptians and Sumerians were gifted advanced technologies from those extraterrestrial visitors thousands of years ago. And that's where, okay, that's the word they missed. His book successes brought with it renewed interest in the ancient world, the possibilities of extraterrestrial intelligence, and the unexplained in general. Even so, he did have his critics, with some arguing that Von Daniken's work was more akin to pseudo-history, pseudo-archaeology, and pseudo-science, hence those words I brought up from his critics earlier today. Nonetheless, he went on to publish a whole string of books that traveled the world, visiting many of the locations that were the topic of his ancient astronaut theories. Interest in his work waned by the 1980s, but his theories continued to influence popular culture for decades, appearing in TV shows such as Ancient Aliens, which ran for 277 episodes and is still running for that matter. Our good friends Dr. Heather Lynn and Mike Ricksecker are still filming those episodes. Even the X-Files picked up on some of the themes that he had first introduced. His theories about ancient visitors from space were also the topic of some lengthy debates on different discussion forums that we've delved into here on this show. Von Daniken sadly died at a hospital in central Switzerland this past week at the age of 90. And again, Godspeed to Eric Von Daniken, and he'll be remembered and missed by this show. I can't tell you how many guests we've had on this show who directly cite Eric Von Daniken as their influence. And Dr. Heather Lynn, I just cited her, came out with a wonderful article and sent it by email to her subscribers. And I got it in my email and I sat and read it. And we didn't have enough time on today's program to cite it, but I may have her on just to kind of talk about it, um, about how much von Daniken influenced her. And it's a wonderful little article about just how much his theories impacted her and how much his theories impacted the world. I think, and it she does go into how much the world at first ridiculed him and science ridiculed him, and then it
Mm-hmm.
goes on to talk about really how much he redeemed himself in the end. So I think it's a really good little article. I hope she puts it up on her website so that people can check it out. So that's Dr. Heather Lynn, so that you folks can go check her out on her website. Our next story, Mallie, NASA orders the space station medical evacuation for the first time ever, the ISS. I don't know. Did you hear about this story?
No, I didn't.
Oh, when I first heard about it on the news, I thought, ooh, you talk about the perfect plot for any type of sci-fi movie.
Mm-hmm.
International Space Station, a plague breaks out. This could be the one thing where you happen to send an astronaut back to Earth, and it happens to be that one plague that spreads across the planet.
Mm-hmm.
It happens to be, I don't know, like a monkey bites somebody, that type of deal. And then all of a sudden it's a contagion that runs wild and it wipes out the entire planet, or that's how zombies start. I don't know. Now I'm just getting nuts. But a return trip to Earth will be happening sooner than planned, after an astronaut became unwell with a serious illness. Now, this is what I have to ask myself, Mallie. Bear with me.
Mm-hmm.
You're up in
Okay.
space, right? You're up in
Mm-hmm.
space. You're doing your thing. You get sick. What is there to get sick in or on in space? I mean, there's supposedly bacteria up there, right?
Right.
What kind of bacteria?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Oh, because aren't they taking stuff from the outside?
Yeah. I mean, they're collecting
You know what I mean?
samples,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of samples that you're getting ill from?
You.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. Maybe there's some weird contagion this guy is bringing,
Right.
guy or gal, whoever's sick.
Yeah. Yeah, because like the sci-fi movies, like you said, where it goes like up their nose and
Right.
like takes over their brain.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden we're all dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it like transfers to the next person.
Yeah. Oh, don't do that. No, no, I don't want that. See, I'm the immunocompromised guy. I'm the one who probably end up being the super spreader. You're all going to get it from me.
No, you'll just like yourself in your room. You'll hit that button and you'll be like, sorry, talking through the little glass.
Sorry, can't come out now.
Yeah, not coming out.
I'll be the one guy behind the microphone doing the transmissions.
Yep.
You all need to run. You're all gonna die.
Be like, let me in. No. Exactly.
The unprecedented situation unfolded this week as reports emerged suggesting that one of the astronauts aboard the orbiting outpost had been struck down with an unspecified condition. Aha, unspecified condition. Notice they
That's
didn't
not
say
good.
flu. There was no flu virus. There was no cold or anything, unspecified condition, Mallie. That's not.
Well, cold and the flu, that would be passed from person to person.
Yeah. This suggests that maybe they quarantined this person until they can get him off the ship. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm? They just put him in that little helmet and the little suit, and they're like, "Don't breathe," until we can get you off. Yeah, that didn't sound right either. The latest update indicates that a crew of 4, led by U.S. Commander Zena Cardman, will be returning to Earth much sooner than expected due to the unexpected medical situation. In other words, they're getting the entire crew off of that ship. Maybe everyone's contaminated. Yikes.
It's like body snatchers.
Yeah.
They're gonna be taking over.
Yeah. Rumors have been swirling since Wednesday when NASA first revealed that one of the astronauts had taken ill but refused to provide specifics for privacy reasons. This was a serious medical condition, said NASA's administrator, Jared Isaacman. that is why we're pursuing this path. A precise schedule for the return to Earth is expected in the next day or so. According to NASA's Chief Health and Medical Officer, Dr. James Polk, the astronaut is stable, but there remains a lingering risk, especially given the lack of proper diagnosis. Whatever the issue is, it's clearly not possible to treat it properly in Earth's orbit. It's also serious enough that for the first time in the history of the space station, NASA has taken the decision to evacuate the astronaut in question back home. I'm proud of the swift effort across the agency thus far to ensure the safety of our astronauts, said Isaacman. See, I would think a genuine cold, flu, whatever, pretty easy to treat in space, right? You would think they have like a first aid kit. They provide for all that up there so that you can continue your work, right?
Take 2 aspirin, call me in the morning. You're okay. Take some vitamin C.
Yep. They probably pretty much have all that up there. It's only when the supposed shit hits the rotor up there on the ISS that they go, well, you know what? We got to bring them back down here because maybe they don't have things like antibiotics or they got to have basic antibiotics.
I was going to say they probably have that.
Yeah, but nothing specialized. The specialized stuff you got to come back for. They got to have basic antibiotics. So it's got to be something that they can't treat.
This isn't good. And the guy's saying it's privacy reasons, so he's not going to tell you what he has.
Yeah, HIPAA
or
stuff.
His symptoms.
Yeah, they can't because of HIPAA rules. They can't tell you what it is. But yeah, I get that much. But
well, if he's like my mother-in-law, she tells you everything. You know what I mean? Every illness, every ache and pain, you know it.
Good thing your mother-in-law isn't his doctor. I mean, oh, it's nothing but a space parasite. We're all gonna die anyways. Yeah, it's okay.
I'm in the bathroom 24/7.
30 days and the Earth will be wiped out. Just prepare your will. Okay. Not good. Well, I hate to say it, Mallie, but 3i Atlas is back in the news again this week.
Jeez Louise.
I know. They won't let it go.
No.
The CIA this time is involved, and they refuse to confirm or deny that it has records on that comet. They are calling it a comet.
That's good.
The 3i Atlas. Signs of a potential cover-up concerning a CIA investigation of the interstellar object has been unearthed, with 3i Atlas now heading away from Earth to resume its journey through the solar system, and with NASA having conclusively determined it to be little more than a normal comet. Thank you, NASA. It would have seemed as though the story of this intriguing interstellar interloper was all but over. But as recently highlighted by, Harvard's Professor Avi Loeb in his latest blog entry, it seems that it wasn't always a foregone conclusion that 3i Atlas would turn out to be harmless. On December 31st, the CIA replied to a Freedom of Information Act, or FOIA request, submitted by the Black Vault's John Greenwald Jr., by stating that it could neither confirm nor deny the existence or non-existence of any records pertaining to 3i Atlas. Oh boy, now we've stirred it up. John, who's been on this program, who is going to file an appeal, maintains that this is a standard response when records do exist, but the CIA doesn't want to release them for various reasons. Oh boy. If the conclusion that 3i Atlas is a comet was clear all along to everyone within government and academia as NASA officials presented the case, then why would the CIA treat the possible existence of records dealing with a natural comet as sensitive enough to be classified? Loeb wrote. Avi, come on, buddy. It's just a comet. It's just a comet. You know why it's classified? Because the CIA does that. Everything's classified until it doesn't need to be. That's why. And we'll just leave it at that. We'll just leave it alone, right? Right, Mel?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why. You know why? Because the remains of JFK are up on that comet. That's why. That's why it's classified. There, I gave him an answer. He went on to suggest that this could indicate that Three Eye Atlas had been investigated by the CIA as a possible black swan event. Oh boy, now we're reaching. Something that could pose a serious threat to human society, but that revealing such a possibility would have been detrimental to social cohesion. Oh, Avi, Avi, Avi. In other words, there would be no point even suggesting to the public that the object had the potential to end human civilization, considering how extraordinarily unlikely such a possibility actually was. It turned around, Avi. It turned around and it went back to where it came from. Still, this is the first time the CIA has offered a response of this nature in relation to an astronomical object, suggesting that it must have held some real significance to the powers that be. Tell you what, Avi. I tell you what, here's the deal. We're going to give you a spaceship. You go race out there and catch Three Eye Atlas. If it talks back to you, it's an alien. And we'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Otherwise, it's a comet.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to catch it first. So, we were talking about going back to the moon. We've been talking about that
Yes.
the past 2 weeks. And the fact that it's probably going to take another year or two for this mission to get moving.
Mm-hmm.
Forget we even said that.
Oh, okay.
Maybe 4 weeks. How about 4 weeks? We're just going to move this up, Mal. We're going to, yeah, we're a little impatient, This administration moves fast. So, yeah. The manned lunar mission is on track to launch in less than 4 weeks now, it says here. The first manned mission to orbit the moon in decades is still on course to launch as early as February 6th.
Yeah.
So we're going to see a manned mission before we see the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
NASA has revealed that it's preparing to roll its Space Launch System SLS rocket and Orion spacecraft out onto the pad for pre-launch checks on January 17th. That's just in a few days, Mallie.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. If it all goes to plan, it will take off on February 6th with a crew of 4 astronauts who will become the first humans to orbit the moon since the Apollo 17 mission all the way back in 1972. And hopefully that will put to rest everybody who says that was done in a studio.
Yes.
With Kubrick.
Mm-hmm.
The astronauts flying on the mission will be NASA's Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, and Christina Cook, as well as Jeremy Hansen of the Canadian Space Agency. Who says Canadians don't like us? They're going to go to the moon with us. We're moving closer to Artemis 2 with rollout just around the corner, said Lori Glaze, who's the acting associate administrator for NASA's Exploration System Development Mission Directorate. We have important steps remaining on our path to launch, and crew safety will remain our top priority at every turn as we near humanity's return to the moon. Artemis 2 won't actually land on the moon. That will instead be the goal of Artemis 3. We're taking baby steps.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to just full out assault the moon, just in case there are little green men running around there, That's not to say that it will be a quick flight, however, as the journey around the moon and back will take a full 10 days to complete. Fingers crossed that we won't have to wait too long for a viable launch window. So it could happen as soon as the 6th of February.
Do you really think it's going to happen, though? On the 6th?
Here's what I worry about, because there's way too many exploding things going on in our government. Like, boom, like we're going to take off now, boom, and things explode. I hope this isn't one of them. Right?
Right.
Yeah. Because ever since we privatized our space vehicles, it's like there's acceptable losses for some reason. I don't remember. Do you remember this before we privatized space? There was never an acceptable amount of rockets to blow up on the launch pad or even as they were taking off. It was a tragedy for something to blow up as it was launching.
Yes.
Now it's like, oh, well, it blew up. We'll build another one.
Yeah.
What? That's
And think about all that money too. It blows up.
right,
That's millions of dollars.
right, right. And it's like, oh, it's just a few $1 billion. We'll
Hmm.
build another one. That's not easy to swallow, right? I, I
Hmm.
I don't have that money. I don't know about you.
Jeez Louise, no.
No.
I'm excited when I find $5 in my pants.
Yeah,
You know what
right.
I mean? When you're doing laundry.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, you're telling me. But no, they seem to be all right with it. That seems to be an acceptable loss. I worry because these are four human beings who are getting onto,
Yeah.
tons of rocket fuel and being jettisoned
Hmm.
into space.
Yeah.
It's a whole new ball game. That's not unmanned rockets or,
Hmm.
that's not, throwing metal up in the air for fun to see if it stays together. I mean, this is a real thing now. I mean,
Yeah.
actual human lives. So that's what I worry about. So and that's the most important thing. And if God love them, if they get out there and they go into the moon's orbit and they get around the moon, they take pictures, everything's fine. They come back and everything's safe. Then great. Then we've got Artemis 3 to look forward to. Um, but boy, I hope it if they can do it that fast and
Hmm.
everything's safe, then great,
Hmm.
wonderful, you know, full speed ahead. God, I hope they're safe. You know,
Yeah.
it just seems like it's just way too soon, right? We'll see. Our next story has to do with the hunt for alien life, which is set to target the atmospheres now of exoplanets. Astronomers will soon have more options than ever before to detect signs of life in the atmospheres of distant worlds. According to Carol Haswell, we live in a very exciting time. The answers to some of the oldest questions humanity has conceived are within our grasp. One of these is whether Earth is the only place that harbors life. In the last 30 years, the question of whether the sun is unique in hosting a planetary system has been resoundingly answered. She says we know now of thousands of exoplanets orbiting other stars, but we can use telescopes to detect whether any of these distant worlds also harbor life. A promising method is to analyze the gases present in the atmospheres of these planets. We know now of more than 6,000 exoplanets. With so many now cataloged, there are a number of ways to narrow down which worlds are the most promising for biology. Using the planet's distance from its host star, for example, astronomers can work out its likely temperature. Earth is the only planet in the solar system with liquid water oceans on its surface, so mild temperatures are a possible requirement for a habitable planet. Whether a planet has the correct temperature for liquid water is strongly influenced by the presence and nature of the planet's atmosphere. Astonishingly, we can identify molecules present in the atmospheres of exoplanets. Quantum mechanics causes each atmospheric chemical to have its own distinct barcode like pattern, which it leaves on the light passing through it. By collecting starlight that has been filtered through an exoplanet's atmosphere, telescopes can see the barcodes of the molecules making up that atmosphere. To take advantage of this, the planet needs to transit or pass in front of it, the star from our point of view. That means it only works for a fraction or a small fraction of known exoplanets. The strength of the signal depends on the abundance of the molecule in the atmosphere. Stronger for the most abundant molecules and gradually weaker as the abundance decreases. This means it is generally easiest to detect the most dominant molecules, though it is not always true. Some of the barcodes are intrinsically strong while others are weak. For example, Earth's atmosphere is dominated by diatomic nitrogen, but this molecule has a feeble barcode compared to the much less abundant diatomic oxygen, ozone, carbon dioxide, and water. The James Webb Telescope is a large space telescope which collects light at infrared wavelengths, and it has been used to probe the atmosphere of, or atmospheres rather, of a variety of exoplanets. The detection of molecular imprints in the atmosphere of an exoplanet is not completely straightforward. Different teams of workers can derive different results as a consequence of making slightly different choices in the way they handle the same data. But despite these difficulties, reproducible and robust detections of molecules have been made. Simple molecules with strong barcodes such as methane, carbon dioxide, and water have been detected. Now, planets larger than Earth but smaller than Neptune, so-called subneptunes, are the most common type of known exoplanet. It was for one of these planets, K2-18b, that a bold claim of a detection of a biosignature was made in 2025. The analysis detected dimethyl sulfide, which with a claim of less than one chance in 1,000 that this detection was spurious. Spurious. That's the biggest word I'll use today. On Earth, dimethyl sulfide is produced by phytoplankton in the oceans, but is rapidly broken down in seawater illuminated by sunlight. As K2-18b may be a planet completely covered by water ocean or by a water ocean, the detection of dimethyl sulfide by its atmosphere could imply an ongoing supply of it from microbial marine life there. The examination of the K2-18b dimethyl sulfide detection by other researchers cast doubt on this claim. Most significant was the 2025 demonstration by Arizona State University's Luis Wellbanks and colleagues that the choice of molecular barcodes to include in the analysis radically affected the results. They found numerous alternatives not explored in the original paper, but provided equally good or better fits to the measured data. For example, for Earth-sized planets, which are presumably rocky, it is quite challenging to detect an atmosphere at all with just the James Webb Space Telescope. However, the future is promising, as a number of planned missions will allow us to learn more about the planets which may be similar to Earth. So it's kind of interesting that they can find those little barcodes and potentially find other atmospheres of exoplanets. Kind of interesting stuff. This next story, Mallie, has to do with a serviceman who claimed he received a code while he was out in Rendlesham Forest from a UFO. Sergeant James W. Peniston received or allegedly received a telepathic message from the UFO more than 45 years ago. The Rendlesham Forest UFO incident, which happened back in December of 1980, saw a U.S. serviceman stationed at RAF Woodbridge in England witness a strange object over multiple nights. Deputy Base Commander Lieutenant Colonel Charles Halt and his men had gone out to investigate when the unidentified object was spotted descending into the nearby woods. Our security team observed a light that looked like a large eye, red in color, moving through the trees, Halt recalled. After a few minutes, this object began dripping something that looked like molten metal. A short while later, it broke into several smaller white-colored objects, which flew away in all directions. Another of the men who went out to investigate that object that night, Sergeant James W. Peniston, later published the contents of a telepathic message or code that he claimed to have received upon touching it. It consists of multiple numbers and words or coordinates, and coordinates rather. The first part reads, Exploration of Humanity, 666, 8100. Okay, the 666 part, I don't know that I like.
Yeah.
Right? That's a little
odd.
Devilish, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It then says continuous for planetary advan in capital letters and with a question mark, and includes the coordinates 52.09424532N as in north, 13.131269W as in west dot. The next part of the message reads, fourth coordinate continue out UQS CBPR before listing several coordinates. I don't know that I'm going to read all of them because there's a lot here.
Right.
But there are a lot there. It then ends with the message, eyes of your eyes. The coordinates origin 52.0942.532N, 13.13.12.69W, and finally origin year 8100. And then maybe it came from the year 8100. Maybe
That's
these
weird.
maybe these were time travelers?
Could be.
Yeah. Exactly what any of this means remains unclear, and does the question of whether or not the message was really telepathically communicated to Peniston at the time of the incident. Could there be some significance to these coordinates and numbers? Who sent them and why? And as things stand, the answer to these questions, as of now, remains unclear. I don't know. The origin year, it's a little intriguing to me.
Mm-hmm.
Just that whole 8100.
Right.
Right. The coordinates are mind-boggling. There's a whole bunch of them I didn't read, but I mean, there's north and west and north and west and north and west, and it sets up like different places on a map, like you'd have to look in order to coordinate yourself, but it points to specific coordinates. So there you go. All right, we're going to take our break. When we come back, the so-called godfather of AI claims that technology will create massive unemployment and send profits soaring, because that's just the capitalist system, Mallie. So what do we do as people?
Mm-hmm.
How do we make our money? We'll find out on the other side of the break. Maybe there is a silver lining to this thing after all. We got plenty of ghost stories today. As a ghost pushes a pint off a table in a haunted pub, we're going drinking on the other side of the break, because we could do that. We got a Bigfoot story today, as a California mom is camping with her son and nephews and is awoken by a possible Mount Baldy Bigfoot throwing rocks at their tent. We'll talk about that as well. And of course, we alluded to it earlier. Get your betting slips out and your money out of your wallet, because
Mm-hmm.
Jesus may be coming back this year and you can put money down. I don't know. You got odds on that one, Mel?
Yeah. I don't think he's coming back, but it would be nice, but I don't think it's happening.
This bet was up last year at most vanity bets, or I think they call what do they call them? It's not vanity bets. What do they call them? But this bet was available last year.
Mm.
So you could have put money down that he wasn't coming back. You probably would have won
Right.
some money.
Gotcha.
You could probably still win money this year too. I think it's a safe bet he's not coming back. But believe it or not, Mallie, there are some people that truly do believe he's coming back this year. We'll tell you why on the other side of the break. I don't know why people think he's coming back, but
Maybe they think it's like the end of the world or something.
kind of feels
Who
like
knows?
it. But I still think he's holding on for something a little more extreme than what's going on here. One other story too: canoes discovered in Wisconsin in a lake are older than the Great Pyramid. We'll talk about those as well.
Did you say canoes?
Canoes,
Okay.
yeah, that's an interesting find.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we'll talk about those as well. We do have a palate cleanser today. I told you that an officer got turned into a frog.
Okay.
It's an unusual little story, but we'll end with that today. All right,
Gotcha.
and then we have your Parashares today. We're going to be talking the Gateway program today, because boy, I said Gateway program. Becky Ann Galantine put out a TikTok that said she believes she was part of the Gateway program, and it exploded, Mallie. I said Gateway program on this program, and boy, people have been writing me nonstop. So we'll tell you just a few of the emails I've been getting. It's scary how many people, Mallie, have been part of this program. That's all coming up on the other side of the break. Bigfoot, Jesus coming back, ghosts throwing stuff at pubs, and the Gateway program. All next, right here on the best in paranormal podcasting, supernatural news and Parashare with your buddies Tim and Mallie, right here on Darkness Radio. Welcome back to the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio on a Wednesday. Supernatural news and Parashare. Mallie, it's the postseason. It's NFL postseason.
Yep.
None of us have a team in it.
Nope. Nope.
Did you watch any football this weekend?
Kind of. It was like on the background.
Yeah.
So,
You know, I did watch that cursed Green Bay Chicago game.
yeah.
Did-
Yep.
Were you rooting for one or the other?
Not really. I had it on. I mean, I know it was a big upset. And I found it more entertaining with the reactions of
Yes.
the upset. That was funny.
Did you see old Ben Johnson in the locker room afterwards?
No.
Oh, you didn't see the coach of Chicago?
Uh-uh. Uh-uh.
Oh, he's a dirty bird. Okay, so
Really?
yeah, our friends in Wisconsin aren't going to like this, but I am wearing my Minnesota Wild green today, but it's
Mm-hmm.
not Green Bay green. But um, yeah, so old Ben Johnson. So he says after the game, our friends in Illinois are going to love this, but he says there has to be a rivalry. So
Okay.
he's like, and I fully believe in this rivalry, right? So he's trying to justify the day after the fact that his behavior was not very sportsmanlike. So after the game, he goes up to shake the Green Bay coach's hand, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he just kind of goes up and goes, whoa, and gives him the little like this, and then runs away, right? Kind of gives him the little,
Right.
little dingle handshake, and then he's off. And it wasn't a very sportsmanlike handshake. So it was kind of,
Mm-hmm.
it was like, okay, whatever. But they've played each other 3 times this year, and all 3 times Chicago's beat Green Bay, right? And he
Mm-hmm.
promised Ben Johnson said at the beginning of this year, much like with Detroit, he said, I love beating Green Bay. So he's kind of putting the screws to him,
Right.
right? He gets to the locker room and he's got his players all in a circle, and he goes, F Green Bay. And he said the word,
Right.
right? And he goes, F the Packers, F Green Bay. And he's got them all yelling and whooping and hollering.
Uh-huh.
Whoa. Do you remember an NFL coach? Would you see Bud Grant saying F the Packers?
No. In fact, you probably have the coaches screaming at their players for saying that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This is the coach yelling F the Packers and F Green Bay. I
Did you
was
get
like,
fined?
no. Well, it was in the locker room, but they had
Oh.
cameras in the locker room, capturing it. I was like, whoa, that's a little strong.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Brings that rivalry to a whole new level.
Mm-hmm.
I think Detroit let the wrong guy go. I think you guys had something special over there. You let him go.
Mm.
I really do think Ben Johnson's going to bring Chicago to a Super Bowl. It won't be this year, but
Right.
but yeah, I think the Bears may be in a Super Bowl in a year or two. Because that team, if you would have seen that team in the locker room, Mal, holy
Mm-hmm.
cow, were they whipped up? They looked like they wanted to run through a brick wall.
Mm.
And they came back from what? What was it? 21 down, 18 down, something like that. Yeah. Yeah, it was a big game. Wish Kevin O'Connell could get the Vikings whipped up like that. Anyways, there are some happy people over there in Chicago. I know that.
Oh, good.
Oh, I did it. There we go. Anyways, interesting weekend.
Mm.
Uh,
Yeah.
Something to get excited about. Let's get into this AI news, shall we? The godfather of AI says the technology will create massive unemployment and send profits soaring because that's just the capitalist system. That's just the way things are. Pioneering computer scientist Jeffrey Hinton whose work has gained him or earned him a Nobel Prize and the moniker of the godfather of AI, said artificial intelligence will spark a surge in unemployment and profits. In a wide-ranging interview with the Financial Times last year, the former Google scientist cleared the air about why he left the tech giant, raised alarms of potential threats from AI, and revealed how he uses the technology, rather. But he also predicted who the winners and losers will be. What's actually going to happen is rich people are going to use AI to replace workers, Hinton said in September. It's going to create massive unemployment and huge rise in profits. It will make a few people much richer and most people poorer. That's not AI's fault. That's the capitalist system. So, yikes.
Mm-hmm.
That echoed comments that he gave to Fortune in August of 2025 when he said AI companies are more concerned with short-term profits and long-term consequences of the technology. Layoffs haven't spiked, but evidence is mounting that AI is shrinking opportunities, especially at the entry level where recent college graduates start their careers. A survey from the New York Fed at the time found that companies using AI were much more likely to retain their employees than to fire them. So layoffs are expected to rise in the coming months. Hinton said earlier, healthcare is the one industry that will be safe from the potential jobs Armageddon. If you could make doctors 5 times more efficient or 5 times as efficient, we could all have 5 times as much healthcare for the same price, he explained on the Diary of a CEO YouTube series in June of 2025. There's almost no limit to how much healthcare people can absorb. Patients always want more healthcare if there's no cost to it. Still, Hinton believes jobs that perform mundane tasks will be taken over by AI while sparing some jobs that require a high level of skill. In his interview with the FT, he also dismissed OpenAI CEO Sam Altman's idea to pay a universal basic income as AI disrupts the economy and reduces demand for workers, saying it won't deal with human dignity and the value people derive from having jobs. Hinton has long warned about the dangers of AI without guardrails, estimating a 10 to 20% chance of the technology wiping out humans after the development of superintelligence. In his view, the dangers of AI will fall into 2 categories. The risk of technology itself poses to the future of humanity and the consequences of AI being manipulated by people with bad intent. In that FT interview, he also warned that AI could help someone build a bioweapon, and lamented the Trump administration's unwillingness to regulate AI more closely while China is taking the threat more seriously. But he also acknowledged potential upside from AI amid its immense possibilities and uncertainties. Um, hmm, uh, so with that in mind, Mel, if you had to take a shot, just a shot in the dark
Mm-hmm.
here, put a number on it, in the next 2 years,
Uh-huh.
how much do you think unemployment will increase due to AI?
Um, I would say maybe 10 to 15%.
I think it's a safe number. I think it's a safe number. I think we had said earlier in the program about a month or two ago
Mm-hmm.
that Walmart said that 5% of its workforce, was it 5 to 10% of its workforce will be laid off permanently
Mm-hmm.
because of AI and won't come back. That they plan on replacing that much of their workforce. I think it was 10%, if I remember right, 10% of their workforce, and it won't come back due to AI. That's a huge chunk, and that's America's
Mm-hmm.
largest employer, saying that 10% of the workforce will be eliminated through AI. That says a lot.
Yeah.
That's yeah, that's a trend. So when America's largest employer says we're going to take 10% of our workforce out and replace it with AI, and they're leading the way, well,
Mm-hmm.
then, you've got to figure out how do you shift, how do you shift the market, and how do you replace those jobs? How do you get humans to do something else, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that affects the psyche too, I think, of humans. You've just been replaced by a machine.
Mm-hmm.
What what good am I now?
Right.
You know, and what
We're
do I
all going to have to go back to school to be a plumber
right? Well,
or
there's
electrician.
well, but
They make good money though.
some of those manual jobs though could be taken over by a machine. I mean, there's
Yeah.
some of those things you could. I mean, you look at some of there was a demonstration recently of the Hyundai robot,
Mm-hmm.
and they were showing that this Hyundai robot could basically do most human functions. There was only one position that it got in where it would collapse. It was kind of funny. It would collapse.
Right. Yep. I remember you talking about that. Yeah.
Right. But it could basically do everything a human could do, right? It
Mm-hmm.
will mimic and ape what a human function could do. And they were saying that these things now can get into the workforce and you can have it ape and mimic anything that a human can do. So you can have it go in and plumb toilets. You can have it go in and do manual labor. It's it's the things that it's the special things that we can do that it can't. So it's the forethinking, creative things that it can't do that we can. That now we have to jump on. We have to change our mindsets as to what it is we can do that it can't.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you do with the members of society that maybe aren't in that lane? I don't know. Maybe do they oversee the robots? Are they the ones that when the
Mm-hmm.
robot falls over, you make them put it back up? I don't know. I don't know.
But there comes a time though that you have to where if you're a company, you've got to look at humanity rather than cost efficiency and you have to go, okay, we still need to supply jobs to people.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Rather than it's cheaper for robots, but we it's our duty to give jobs, you know,
Right.
to humans rather than
Well, look where we are right now. The world is a global market, right?
hmm
And there are certain things that aren't made in this country anymore. They just aren't. And the way that the United States functions, this isn't a political statement, this is truth.
right.
If you want to become an isolationist country, you couldn't do it. You just can't do it.
hmm
If you wanted to say, well, we want to start making pharmaceuticals in this country, you can't do it without billions of dollars of investment back in this country, maybe even trillions, because all pharmaceuticals are made in other countries.
hmm
The actual drugs are made in China, they're made in Germany, they're made in Sweden, they're made in multiple countries. Plus, you have to give incentives to workers. Do you know how cheaply those drugs are made? But then the markup comes to this
hmm
country, right?
Yeah.
So you can't possibly bring the entire pharmaceutical manufacturing plants here
hmm
because then you have to take and pay one of our workers a livable wage, and they don't make a livable wage in those other countries.
Right.
So a drug like, let's just take a basic drug, um, aspirin or Tylenol. We'll say
hmm
Tylenol. Okay, your Tylenol that right now you're already paying. Let's talk about Tylenol arthritis.
Yeah.
My delicate little digits, which I'm already taking a few times a day, anyways. That bottle of Tylenol arthritis that I buy every month for $25 will now go up to $50
hmm
if it's made here in America, simply because we're now paying for American labor, and that's because the cost gets passed down to
Right.
us, right?
hmm
Because we've given somebody that wage, which do I mind? Might. I don't know that I can afford $50 for Tylenol.
Right.
I'd probably start going to a generic at that point, right?
hmm
Um, but that's the consequence. If you bring everything back here in an isolationist society.
hmm
But if we start, that's why CEOs of companies go, well, you know what? I can now I can take it away from the cheap labor and I can give it to AI, and I don't pay AI a penny.
Right.
but then they put it back in their pocket. So does it matter? You know, I mean, this is all
Mm-hmm.
philosophical stuff that's beyond a paranormal show, right?
Right.
But you
Right.
have to question where it's all going
Yeah.
in the end.
There was a huge argument going on Facebook with my town because there's a group of local shop owners, and they get together and they do something fun every month where they kind of get the community involved. And they created like this poster, and someone got upset that they used AI, and they said you should have used an artist.
Mhm.
And they said, well, if you have someone to recommend, we would have, loved to use them. And they said, well, I'm an artist and this person's an artist. And they're like, well, would they have donated their time? And they're like, well, you need to support an artist. And like, but this is donations, we're small business. That's what we're asking. Well, you know what I mean? It was like this whole argument where you should be paying an artist. And they're like, but we don't have the money. We're asking you to donate your time and
Yeah,
your creativity. And they're like, well, no, you need to pay. And they're like, this is why we used AI.
right,
So it was like this little circle thing.
right.
Anyway.
And you go around and around, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And there's the big conundrum, you know, you have some things some people can't afford to do.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to support humans, you want to support
Mm-hmm.
local, you want to support, but then it comes down to, can you afford to?
Right.
Yeah. And it's a whole new ball game from there. Yeah, it gets tough. It gets tough
Mm-hmm.
to sort all that out. And sometimes you have to do it on an individual case by case basis. And other times, but then that all adds up, right? It's if you do case by case basis, it all adds up. And then, if you start at the very bottom on a local level, all the way to the biggest corporation, and if everybody starts doing things cheaply, then we're right back in that boat again, where everybody
Yeah.
says, if I would have done it this way, then maybe I would have saved a job.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Speaking of, this is a good transition before we get to our next story. Speaking of
Mm-hmm.
saving a job, I don't know if I saved anybody a job here, but anniversary logo, right? We will have
Oh, yes.
we'll have some anniversary merchandise, 20th anniversary Darkness Radio merchandise coming out. Howie Noel, the great artist Howie Noel, who does the art for Dick Tracy, is done a anniversary logo for us, and he will actually that we should have some merchandise here out hopefully by the end of the week or beginning of next week. So be looking to darknessradioshow.com, and we'll have a link in our store for the merchandise, and I'll announce on social media as well when it comes out. So you guys will be able to get some anniversary merch. There you go.
Very cool.
There you go. Okay. So there we go. We saved a job.
There we go. Yes.
There's a point to all that talk right there.
Mm-hmm. I like how you tied it in.
Yeah, there you go. There's a point there. Okay. All right. Meanwhile, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
Household AI bots may save marriages, after all, Mallie, by soaking up moaning and nagging, according to certain scientists.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if I buy this story either. AI machines could listen to gripes instead of partners. Human behavior expert Dr. James Muldoon predicted we will turn to artificial intelligence to vent about annoying colleagues rather than chewing the ear off a spouse. Okay. Household bots could save marriages because they will soak up moaning and nagging instead of spouses, according to experts. I don't know how expert they are, but we'll listen.
Mm-hmm.
Whining about a long day at work at that to a partner may become a thing of the past when AI can listen instead to dish out words of comfort. Oh, I can't imagine that cold metallic voice has any comfort, but we'll see. Human behavior expert Dr. James Muldoon predicted mankind will turn to artificial intelligence to vent about annoying colleagues rather than chewing the ear off a spouse. Dr. Muldoon from Essex Business School said folk could end up venting to a bot several times a week. He told the Instant Genius podcast, listening to gripes could be a positive side of AI. Maybe we use AI to vent about our annoying colleagues at work, right? He said. Maybe your husband or wife is sick of you talking about all your terrible colleagues and just want to spend 20 minutes of your day venting about them and just telling someone about how terrible they are. See, I normally do that to Mallie. Now she's just going to put ALEXA up to her screen and make me do it to her. AI might be good for that, the doctor said. Maybe it's literally just 20 minutes of your life for a few days a week, and it feels like a supplement rather than a replacement of human beings. According to the Chartered Institute of Personnel and Development website, People Management, folk are already turning to AI for help with raising formal work grievances. They are using tools such as ChatGPT to prepare employment tribunal claims. But Allie Murray of commercial law firm Travers Smith warned relying on what can be inaccurate advice from bots could be problematic and may do little to help resolve issues. Lee H. Baucom of online marriage guidance website The Connection Compass warned turning to AI could make someone's plight worse. It was not a therapist, a mediator, or a wise friend, but a sophisticated mirror that reflects back what you bring to it, often in an amplified form, he went on to say. What AI does is validate your narrative, he said. When you're hurting, that validation feels like relief, but it's not healing, it's actually reinforcement. When conversations with AI feel better than conversations with your spouse, something dangerous happens. Your marriage isn't being compared to healthy marriages or therapy or reconciliation. It's being compared to an interaction that requires nothing of you. And intimacy is fake intimacy, or AI intimacy, he says, is fake intimacy. It asks nothing, it risks nothing, it costs nothing emotionally. Real intimacy, the doctor says, with your spouse requires vulnerability. The possibility is rejection, the work of understanding, and the pain is of or the pain of truly being known, flaws and all. When you have an easier option that feels like connection, but isn't you stopping, or isn't you stop doing the harder work your marriage actually needs? That doesn't seem like what say
Sounds
there.
weird.
People report feeling more connected in their AI conversations than with their spouse, but that's not the connection at all. It's the emotional equivalent of junk food. It satisfies the immediate craving while leaving you malnourished. Marriage isn't a debate to win, it's a relationship to nurture. Every emotional release you get from venting to AI is energy you're not bringing to the actual relationship. AI keeps you analyzing, processing, strategizing, and seeking understanding all in isolation from your spouse. It can make you feel productive while you're actually avoiding the very thing that needs to happen, which is engaging directly with your partner. I can't disagree with anything the doctor said there, besides the one line that seems kind of weird. But other than that, it all seems like good sense, good common sense, right? I mean, I don't know why you would. It seems kind of vainglorious, right? To talk to a machine and have the machine spout things back to you that seem exactly like what you just said to it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like talking to a mirror. But what do I know? I don't know. I've never sat here and talked to my ALEXA before. I mean, other than when I had Samuel L. Jackson on there.
Uh-huh.
And I would hear it talk back to me just to hear the quotes. But that was for a laugh. Otherwise, I've never talked to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that something I should get into? I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like when people start doing that, they become more addictive to it.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
But it might be, I don't know. It might, I don't know.
It seems weird to me. Is
Yeah.
that a generational thing?
Maybe.
I don't know. It feels like it is.
Yeah.
I mean, other than asking for the weather forecast or
Right.
or a recipe or sports scores or whatever,
Right.
I don't know what you would talk to it about.
Maybe if you're lonely?
I guess. I don't know. Do you have a question for it? I don't know. I don't know what I would ask it.
Yeah, that's the thing. I wouldn't even know where to begin.
Yeah, I don't know either. Yeah. Mm. Mm. Yeah, I guess it's halfway interesting, but not really.
Hmm.
I'll give you a choice here. Ghost story or Parashare?
Ghost story.
Okay, let's go ghost story. CCTV catches the moment where a ghost pushed a pint off a table in a haunted pub. It is the latest in a series of bizarre incidents at this particular inn. A table in the haunted pub was caught on CCTV. Video shows the pint being placed down by the customer, who then walked away. The 27-second clip, which I'll post in the description of this program so you can watch it, then showed the full glass slowly moving toward the edge and then toppling off at the Lattice House Bar in King's Lynn in Norfolk, in England. The building dates back to the 1400s and is said to have had several ghosts in the building. Landlord Perry Sturge only took over 6 months ago, but said locals weren't surprised by the latest goings on. We've had quite a few stories from regulars regarding things that have happened here, he said. The building is very old and is said to be haunted. There is an investigation with a local paranormal group taking place here at the end of January. The Lattice House is described as a historically significant building. A parish clerk called Louis Salter was discovered strangled there in 1648. His death was unexplained.
Hmm.
Hmm. Discovered strangled but unexplained. Locals have spoken of a presence in the building, but unexplained movements, flickering candle flames, and the feeling of being watched when alone are all things that they're experiencing. In 1988, an exorcism was conducted there by a local vicar. It was after a customer described feeling hands on her shoulders and back, leaving bruises that she could not explain. Others reported similar sensations. So, after a little bit of bruising, they did an exorcism.
Hmm.
Too extreme?
A little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
That's kind of the European way, though, isn't it?
I thought that they would, I don't know. Do you think they do exorcisms more than
I think so. Yeah.
okay.
I think they do. I think they're quicker to do exorcisms over there
Mm,
than here. Yeah, I think there's a little bit more pushback here for exorcisms. To do an exorcism.
right, right. Well, I always thought there was pushback, but I guess I never thought about pushback more in the US than over there.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Mm,
yeah. A lot of times, I think here, especially from clergy and Catholic
mm-hmm.
clergy, they encourage you to seek professional mental help first,
Mm,
and to rule that out first before they intercede.
right.
In fact, I've had quite a few people over the last few years tell me when they've gone to clergy here in the U.S., they've turned them flat down the first couple of times before they
Mm,
finally take a look at it. Especially local clergy, you generally have to appeal to your local clergy. They'll turn it down. You have to then go to the diocese, and then the
okay.
diocese will take a look at it. So I don't know what it is that local clergy are like, no, 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 we're good. And then the diocese goes, oh, okay, then we'll take a look at it. It's like you
Mm-hmm.
have to appeal. I don't know what that is. I don't know. Maybe because they feel they're not qualified. Like the
Right.
local priest goes, no, I don't think I
They
can.
want to kind of pass the buck.
Hmm. Hmm. Like, the bishop can take care of that.
Right.
The
He
bishop's
makes
a
more
little,
money.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. He's more of a full-time guy.
Yeah.
They barely put me in this cardboard rinky-dink house I live in and back in the
Hmm.
church. So, yeah, I don't make that much money.
Yeah. He
Yeah,
gets the good wine.
that's right. Yeah, he gets the good wine and hosts on Sunday. Not me. Uh, yeah, the bishop's eating steak. I'm eating
Hmm.
chicken. So, you know, he's more well-fed and ready to go. One more ghost story for you here, and then I think, oh, you know what? One more ghost story, then we'll talk Jason Hawes, then we'll do Parashare.
Oh, yes.
This ghost sighting in Himachal. An eerie viral video shows a mysterious woman alone on a mountain. This is kind of an interesting little story. They sure are beautiful, breathtakingly intimidating, peaceful, and the very example of how mighty nature can be. They're mountains, not the woman. However, just because mountains are all that does not mean that they cannot be scary, downright terrifying, or even horrifying as well. Reminding the internet or something similar, rather eerie video recently surfaced, allegedly from the Himachal Pradesh Mandi. The clip was seemingly shot at night, which showed a mysterious creature that looked a lot like a woman with open hair climbing up a mountain. So in the middle of the night, this woman is climbing up a mountain by herself with this wild hair, right? As the creature's eyes glowed, yes, glowed, probably due to the camera's flash, the screeching sound in the video's background only made the entire thing further spine-chilling. As soon as the clip began to circulate online, netizens began to call it a possible ghost sighting. Many also called it fake and asked not to spread misinformation, claiming that it was probably nothing but an animal. I tell you what, I'm going to post this one as well so you can take a look for yourself and you tell me, fake or is it something? All right. So you've got that assignment, kids, for this week. All right, let's talk Conjuring House. We had Jason on the program a couple weeks ago, and he was careful to say, actually, you know what? He was pretty candid on this program about things that were going on with the Conjuring House, and I was grateful for him being candid with things that were going on. And he's always been brutally honest, you know, as far as things that go on. He didn't mince words. He didn't beat around the bush with anything. And he said and he even explained the three challenges that were in front of him and in front of this group for securing the house. And he even said there's going to be litigation. And he explained thoroughly what was in front of them. There's a story that's out this week that says that the Conjuring House saga twist, or there is a twist, as Ghost Hunters Jason Hawes tries to buy it. To me, that's the biggest no duh headline that's out there. Well, of course, he's trying to buy it on behalf of the community. I don't know why that's a shock. It says the fate of the iconic haunted house that inspired an entire movie franchise remains in the balance. According to unexplainedmysteries.com, they said they last reported on the drama surrounding the remote Rhode Island farmhouse, which was the scene of a notorious real-life haunting that plagued the Perron family for years, back in September when it was revealed that it would be going up for auction at Halloween. The story goes that a witch was said to have cursed the property, dooming anyone who lived there. The house has changed hands several times over the years, with the Heinzen family trying to buy, or it says the Heinzen family buying it in 2019, and then just 2 years later, it was sold again and opened to the public as a paranormal attraction. As it turned out, the Halloween auction never took place, but with an unexpected twist, Jason Hawes of Ghost Hunters fame has been publicly called upon by Andrea Perron to preserve the property. He then started a GoFundMe to purchase it. It says to purchase it himself, which is inaccurate, arguing that it should be cared for respectfully. He opened that GoFundMe for the community to purchase it, which the article does not get correct. According to reports, when the house's current owner suffered financial difficulties and defaulted on their mortgage, the door was potentially open for Hawes's $1.3 million bid to go through. Since then, however, further legal disagreements have put a block on the sale, meaning that the whole thing is now up in the air and is unclear whether Hawes will still be able to purchase it or not. Certain legal documents now prevent the further transfer of ownership for the foreseeable future. As things stand, the drama surrounding the house, it seems, is no closer to being resolved. So I think Unexplained Mysteries doesn't have the complete picture. Jason went online this week said to everybody, there's a lot of misinformation out there.
Mm-hmm.
I think this article muddies the water quite a bit, doesn't really clear anything up, doesn't solve anything. I think Jason gave us a lot of clarity here. And he explained it very clearly. There's there's three hurdles, three obstacles there. Um, yes, there's the equivalent of a frivolous lawsuit out there by Jacqueline's sister.
Mm-hmm.
You have to realize some things here, folks. And this is my interpretation only. And it may not even be the legal interpretation, but I'll break down what I know here. And Mallie backed me up here. You can tell me I'm wrong, one or the other, as far as you know, because I think you're a little more knowledgeable in this than I am.
I don't know about that, but
So Elton comes in, he buys the mortgage, right,
right.
on the property.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, Jacqueline, who is the former owner, is out of it, right? She no longer owns the property. It was being foreclosed on. So
Right. But I mean, I thought she owned it until she signs over the deed.
is that the case?
Yeah, because I think you own you. I mean, I thought technically until you sign over the deed, you still own it.
Even
You
if
know
you're
what I mean?
being foreclosed upon?
Well, I mean, once you're foreclosed on, I mean, once the sale has gone through, and the because I mean, eventually the bank will have you sign the deed to the bank, and then the bank will sell it, and then the bank will be on the deed, and they will deed to whoever buys it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's going to be two deeds. But if there hasn't been a deed yet from Jacqueline or whatever her name is
Yep.
to the bank, she still technically owns it.
Okay. So so what is it that Elton bought when he bought the mortgage? Did he just pay off her mortgage?
Yeah, he just bought the debt.
Okay. But according to what I read, he technically has dibs on the deed after buying the mortgage, according to their state law.
Okay. I mean, I think each state's different. And I'm not a I mean, I'm not a I mean, foreclosure thing that I mean that kind of confuses me, but I mean, as long as you haven't signed over the deed, you are technically still the owner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You haven't transferred title.
Right. Um, and this is just what I had read in passing. Because Elton had said publicly, I think I might change my mind. I think I might actually want the house now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which was kind of an alarming statement. And I didn't bring it up directly with Jay, either on air or off
Right.
air, because he's got enough to think about. But the idea being, and I think I had talked with you both on and off air about this, um, that I think there's always been a consortium between Elton and Jay all along. I think the idea was that again, it's a community project. I think that
Mm-hmm.
people have been working together. I think the idea was Elton was going to come in, clear out the debt. I think Jay was going to come in. He was going to put money towards it. I think there's probably another player in here somewhere that's
Mm-hmm.
putting money towards it as well. Um, who it is, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I think people are doing their part and they're doing their fair share of the lifting to get this thing purchased. And then they'll sort it all out later, right? Um, so there's nothing shocking here,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know why people get, pardon me for the saying, I don't know why people get their undies in a bunch here about who's got what and who's paying what. It's kind of like sitting down to dinner with old friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
As long as we're splitting up the bill and it's getting paid, who cares who's paying what, right?
Right.
Um, but the bill's getting split up. So I think it's just a matter of, okay, now we need to figure out what's going on. Now, Jacqueline's sister is suing Jay, and he pointed that out on the
Mhm.
program. But none of the money from the GoFundMe is being used for legal purposes. And Jay has stated that as well. He's paying that out of his own pocket. And but again, it's a frivolous suit. She's saying that Jacqueline was not of sound mind when she decided to sell to the consortium that is headed by Jay. And again, I'm using my words carefully here. I'm not I'm not saying sell to Jay. That is Jacqueline's sister's words. Um, it's a consortium headed by Jay.
Mhm.
Jay is contending that that's ridiculous. It's, everything is on the up and up. Everything's been done above board. Uh,
Mhm.
that he can't comment, of course, because everything is confidential. But you know, he was hoping that he wouldn't have to say anything, but everything is progressing as it's supposed to, right? Which to me means this, and this is only I don't know anything. I don't know anything more than you guys, but this is how I piece things together. That somewhere in there, a deal was struck once Elton bought the debt.
Mhm.
That Jay was to come in, was to offer a certain amount of money for the property. Everything was to be wrapped up. We're all done.
Mhm.
She's to hand the deed over to Jay. They close the sale. The bank is fine. She's fine. We move on with life, right? Because honestly, you have to remember, Burrillville was pulled the entertainment license from Jacqueline. She wasn't going to get the entertainment license back, and Burrillville wasn't going to give the entertainment license to anybody who bought that house unless they proved they were of one, sound mind, and two, good character, right?
Mhm.
And that was either going to be another developer who was going to come in and redo the land, or two, someone who could take the existing property and develop it, or not develop it, but take the property if they were going to use it for the paranormal with someone of good standing in the community. Well, obviously, that's this consortium that Jay's putting together. So Jay's good name comes in and they say, okay, fine. We know who he is. We trust him. So to me, it's the thing that makes sense. I don't know, thoughts?
I am so confused, and I think it's because there's so many stories going around. You know what I mean? Like the last thing I saw was something about, Matt Rife is involved and he had offered like $3 million to purchase the house, and that was denied. And so, of course, Jacqueline's not in the right state of mind because why would she deny 3 million? You know what I mean? There's like all of these little stories going around. So yeah, I just, and the deed's been denied. I don't know. There's just so many things going on. So I have no idea. And like you said, I don't know why he would have bought the mortgage because, yeah, I don't know. And I don't know anything about foreclosures with buying a mortgage because why would you? I mean, I could see if you're buying a mortgage to keep others away, you know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? And
Yeah.
to keep the foreclosure process to stop it. But I don't know why else you would buy it other than, you now have a mortgage on that property.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so I mean, I don't know what the thinking was. So I'm not sure.
There's only two reasons I can think of to buy the mortgage. One, either you're in bed with a group that's
Right.
trying to stop the auction. One, just trying to stop the auction. Or two, um, you're making a full out move to buy the property in full, right?
Hmm.
So you not only want the property in full, and you were negotiating with the bank, not necessarily with Jacqueline, but with the bank, because wouldn't the first move be to purchase the debt and then go after the property? I would think. right?
You would think so.
Because the idea would be, okay, I'm going to purchase the debt. You go to the bank and say, I'll take the debt off her hands.
Right.
Let's take this off the market and let's figure out what the fair market value is.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll make you a fair offer for the the property, which we discussed on the show before. When you look at the tax assessed value of
Mm-hmm.
the land, it's something like almost $700,000, right?
Right.
But of course, there's an intrinsic value. There's an entertainment value to it,
Mm-hmm.
which Jacqueline paid 1.2. If they're doing fair business with the bank, they could say, okay, if I want to pay you anywhere between 700,000 and 1.2, if they come back and say, well, how about we give you 800, 900,000 with the
Mm-hmm.
bank and say, okay, we're not going to give you 1.2. That's what Jacqueline gave, or that's what Jacqueline bought from
Right.
Heinzen's. But we realize that you want to make a little bit of money on it. So why don't we give you 900,000? And
Yeah.
I can see the bank outright selling it for that.
I just think there's so much misinformation out there. It
Oh yeah.
makes it
Yeah.
all confusing.
Right. Um, but the fact that Jay, I think Jay tipped his hand a little bit, and this is just me speculating.
Okay.
When Elton bought the mortgage,
Mm-hmm.
said everything is going according to no, nobody worry or fret, everything's going according to plan, and it opens up so many more possibilities. That got me thinking. Well, it opened up so many more possibilities because now the property's available, and
Mm-hmm.
nobody was looking at how much the tax assessed value of this property was, which was $696,000. And at that point, if you looked at how much the GoFundMe had raised, along with what was promised or projected,
Mm-hmm.
they had raised that much.
Right.
So, I mean, they had it covered. They had the tax assessed value covered at that point without
Mm-hmm.
Jay putting in his nut, right? So, and plus there's repairs that have to be done on the house and there's other things that have
Mm-hmm.
to be done. So I think at that point he's thinking, all right, time to strike, right? It's time to do whatever we
Mm-hmm.
need to do, right? And that they have everything, they have everything covered. Um, I don't know. I think he thought everything's good, right? Everything's good. I don't think he foresaw Jacqueline's family getting involved,
Mm-hmm.
but that's okay. To him again, bumps in the road happen, right? So I think he'll just deal with it. And again, I think it's a little bit of a frivolous suit. How does her sister know? I mean, other than the obvious, but how does her sister know that she's not of sound mind enough to sell the place,
Right.
right? And know that, because if you say she's not of sound mind to sell the place, then she's not of sound mind to own her business, and she runs a regular business,
Right.
right? I mean, you're splitting hairs here. So,
Yeah.
and the fact of the matter is she's okay. So if she's not of sound mind to sell the business, there's so much stuff here, Mel.
Right. Right.
There's a lot of layers to the onion here. She's she was being foreclosed on. So if
Right.
if she doesn't sell the place, the bank is going to unload it for her.
Mm-hmm.
So as her sister, you should probably figure this out.
Yeah.
You should figure out, you should probably get out of the way, right? And let her.
Unless the sister was offered something more.
I think the sister has interests here. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like she has her own private interests here, and she's got a party that's interested here that probably wants to pay
That's what
her.
I'm thinking. And
Yeah,
that's why she had the deed declared null and void.
yeah, yeah. Or trying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, trying. She's trying. But again, that'll all be settled in the court. So that's why the high drama here. But
Right.
I I find it hard to believe that she's got that much power until Jacqueline is declared by a court to
Mm-hmm.
be mentally unfit or incompetent and has to be put under a conservatorship where her business affairs have to be run by somebody else. She can't tell Jacqueline what to do.
Mm-hmm.
She just can't. So I don't know where she thinks that's going to go. I don't know how she thinks that's going to run. So I don't know. She's a grown woman. She can do her own
Mm-hmm.
stuff. So I think it's interesting. It's an interesting concept that she's got going there. All right. Our next story. A California mom has gone camping with her son and nephews and is awoken by a possible Mount Baldy Bigfoot throwing rocks at the tent. A quiet camping trip. Oh, you know what? We were going to do Parashare, weren't we?
Okay. Yep.
Should we do that or should we do the Bigfoot
Sure.
story? Okay.
Well, yeah. Whichever one you want to do.
Let's do the Bigfoot story first, and then we'll do Parashare. A California camping trip in November took a turn when an early morning visitor started tossing rocks near a tent occupied by a mom, her son, and two nephews. Was it a Bigfoot, or maybe it could have been something else? The mom sent her report to the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization, or BFRO, and let the experts take a look. Her story and encounter were given a Class B classification by the organization. The quote here from the mom was, I was with my son, 15, and two nephews, 14 and 17. Oh, great. She's with three teenagers. We went up to Baldy to camp. My son wanted to check it out, and it was closer than Big Bear, where we usually camp. We arrived at the campsite around 8:30 p.m., she went on to say. It was dark the whole drive up the mountain. We arrived at the campsite, and it was deserted except for two tent sites. We chose a site nearest to the bathrooms and set up camp. The teenagers found a spot with the least amount of slope and cleared the rocks and stones from it before pitching the tent. They had a fire and listened to the coyotes before going to bed. The coyotes made their way into the campgrounds, keeping them awake until one of the campers set off a car alarm by sending them back into the woods. I think I'm out of there once the coyotes show up.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, they fell asleep until an unplanned early morning visit. At 3:30 a.m., I was woken up by the sound of rocks hitting the ground, like 10 to 15 rocks hitting the ground from being thrown from a distance and then rolling away towards us. Not pebbles. It sounded like substantial rocks, she explained. These substantial rocks were hitting the ground on the side of the tent where their heads were, but none of them even ended up making contact with the tent. This Bigfoot had great aim and an ability to judge the rolling of a rock like no other. She was scared and stayed motionless throughout the ordeal. She tried to figure out if they were in danger of a rock slide or something was walking above the location of the tent, causing the rocks to roll toward them. Neither of those were likely. They weren't in danger of a rock slide, and these rocks were thrown, not sent rolling down from something dislodging them while walking by. It had to be a Bigfoot, she claimed. In the morning, her son and the oldest nephew said they had also heard the early morning disturbance near the tent, and then they found evidence. We went outside and found about 8 rocks, baseball to softball size, roundish, that were 4 feet to 10 feet from the tent. They were dry on the bottom as opposed to the other rocks that were wet on the bottom, indicating that they were new as opposed to those that had been there for a while, the concerned mom continued. Also the ground rather had been cleared of rocks for the tent. My nephew and I tried to replicate the way the rocks hit the ground and rolled, but we couldn't throw hard enough to replicate it. Interesting. They found that there wasn't enough of a slope for the rocks to roll on their own, meaning they had to have been thrown with some force in order for them to hit the ground and roll. She tried to downplay the whole thing. She didn't want to freak her son and nephews out, but she was feeling uneasy about what had happened. They've been camping before and never had an experience like that at Mount Baldy. Looking back, they realized that they had also heard a long howl that didn't fit with the coyotes howling. One thing everyone knows about Bigfoot is that they like to howl, according to her. She had recorded some of the coyotes' howls, but had stopped by the time the suspected Bigfoot howl had been heard. The California mom hadn't heard any of the stories about Bigfoot in the area, not until she told her sister about her early morning visitor. That's when her sister started sending her links to stories about the Mount Baldy Bigfoot. So I got to ask you, Mallie, you're out
Mhm.
camping with the family and you hear a couple of howls and stuff gets chucked at your head. Are you going back?
Uh, I would, you know what? I would probably think it's a bunch of teenagers or someone playing a trick.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Yeah. You wouldn't think it would be a Bigfoot?
Mm-mm.
No.
No.
I don't
How
know.
about you?
See, as much time as I've spent in the woods, I've never seen or felt anything that I think is anything like that. So
Yeah.
I probably with you, I'd probably be a little bit skeptical. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
that I would think that it was anything remotely like that, but you never know.
Mm-hmm.
No, I, I'm. We've had a couple of people on the show that claim that Bigfoot, not Bigfoot, was it Dogman? Dogman's in the backyard, I guess. And likes the way I
Mm-hmm.
treat the animals. Hmm, who knows?
Mm-hmm.
All right, we got a couple of Parashares to share with you today. Um, I got it, boy, have I got Parashare business to take care of here today. First of all, Jeff wants me to let everybody know. You remember Jeff had his prediction segment, and I mistakenly told everybody I didn't know whether his 2025 predictions were if he had made them up
Yes.
or he
Mm-hmm.
says, Tim, you read my 2025 predictions on the air. So I have to
Okay.
clarify for everybody. You can go back into the archives and hear me reading his 2025 predictions. Although when I asked Jeff to go back and cite where I read them, he was like, they're there, but I don't know. So I guess you can go back in the archives and hear me reading Jeff's. So there you go, Jeff. You weren't lying. I acknowledged it on air. So there you go. There's one. The other thing I have to take care of or tell you about is Corey has predictions
Okay.
for the year 2026. He says, "Hi Tim and the team. Heard the call for predictions and felt the need to add mine to the mix." He says, "One, sometime this year, Bigfoot will be confirmed as an interdimensional being in a major
Hmm.
scientific journal."
Okay.
So that's one of prediction number one. Number two, the Denver Broncos will defeat the Los Angeles Rams in the Super Bowl. He's very, very close. Now we're down to what?
Mm-hmm.
The final eight? Final eight? And those are two of the eight teams that are in. Boy, Corey, you are so close. I think he might be right.
Hmm.
It's either that or it's going to be the Patriots on the AFC side, I think. Number three, UFO disclosure won't come this year. We may see some more breadcrumbs, though, but no full disclosure, he says. I think that's pretty safe.
Mm-hmm.
Corey says for number four, the eastward shift of Tornado Alley will be more prominent this year. Major tornado outbreaks will be reported in Ohio, Kentucky, and Tennessee, and will outnumber traditional tornado states such as South Dakota and Nebraska.
Okay.
Interesting. Number five, by the end of the year, there may be a pause or total stoppage of self driving cars being allowed on the streets due to more accidents being reported. This pause or stoppage will lead to more regulations being drafted. He also says some of these may seem a little wacky, but you never know what may happen. I think you're pretty mainstream there, Corey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you're more on than you know. So those are from Corey.
Very nice. Yeah, I don't care for those self-drive cars.
I don't either. And Waymo is now in the market. Waymo's taken the lead for self-driving taxis and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got Waymo, you've got Elon Musk's group.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a lot of self-driving that are trying to, and they're trying to get municipal licenses to do taxis and whatnot. So
No, thank you.
we'll see. Quite a few of you wrote in about the Gateway project, and boy, I have quite a few of these messages. But I tell you what, I'm just going to read a couple of them because they all pretty much echo the same experience. Um, but the idea is that um, is this um, that you guys and Becky and Galentine had this this experience, and I'm just grabbing grabbing the messages here. So the Gateway program is this. So anywhere from the 70s to the 90s, if you went to school and you were pulled aside into a special course, maybe you were given headphones to listen to and you had to listen to a series of tones, or you're giving tests. And these tests said, okay, match these shapes. So you had a shape that looked like this, and then you had to match the next shape. Or you were
Mm-hmm.
told, you were sent home with a note that said, well, you were behind in these classes, but you excelled at this. And then they wanted you to go to a different class or a different building, or they wanted you to go to a different, and they used the Gateway program, or they said the
Mm-hmm.
GATE program or something like that. And when they sent home these notes to your parents, um, it's all very eerie. I remember my experience as this. I remember these tests, but I was in an accelerated reading program
Mm-hmm.
with my teacher, Mrs. Wetterstrom, but I remember taking the tests in her class. But I remember the headphones,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember taking the tests in her class. And it was very weird. But then I only remember the tests very briefly, and then I don't remember anything after that. This is the other thing too, Mallie, is people don't remember much after taking the series of tests. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
there were workbooks too. This is the other thing,
Right.
workbooks, but you don't
Mm-hmm.
remember anything about the workbooks, right?
Right.
It's strange stuff. So let me read from Eric. Eric says, I remember two separate instances about being tested and promoted into the gifted and talented program. First time was in the 80s and was given at or fifth grade. I remember my parents were sent a letter stating I was far in advance of my classmates after testing. Again, there's that testing thing. Adding
Mm-hmm.
to that, my parents were told I was absolutely friendless and seemed to have no desire to join the herd. I remember having to fill out what was pretty damn similar to, like you stated, Tim, a Mensa or IQ testing, predict the next shape, given examples, and so on. There was part of the testing which baffled me, and that was anticipating the next symbol or name in a sequence. See, I remember that too, which looking back is so much of a testing for ESP. It's comical in retrospect. It really is. And although I did very well and couldn't explain how I knew the answer, after that, I would occasionally be sent a guidance and fill out the odd test. To be clear, I was not a head case. I thought little of my classmates not being given the same work and tests all the time. Four other students at the time were also being tested. Skip to the eighth grade, and once more, I was pulled from class and given the same battery of tests. The same people from elementary school were present once again. All those whom I perceived as my peers, or well more intelligent than myself. We were put into special math classes or other classes that may have been considered beyond the catalog normally offered. That capper for it all, my opinion, was being given an ASVAP test toward the tail end of the special classes. I strongly believe that at the very least, the GATE program was designed to recruit for special government services. Fun end note to all this, I flamed out hard when we entered Algebra 2. I couldn't get past algebra. It's an interesting note.
Mm-hmm.
When I found out that I could get the correct answer if I concentrated on the formula hard enough or long enough, I could not for the life of me express that an answer that answer as a proof. That's right. Our instructor told us we had free reign with using the teacher's edition to check our work, after which we could vacate the room and let us work. I bowed out after the first semester. I was tempted to use the book, but couldn't see the point. It wouldn't help me on any test. So I ended up quitting the class and moving on. Humorously enough, out of the initial dozen people in that class, only 3 made it through. The rest were caught cheating and had been for quite some time. I continued doing well in school and never had the government and never had the government went for me for anything else. Phew. Eric in Wisconsin. Okay. Also, I have one from Heather here that I'll read. She says, I was part of the GATE program when I was in junior high. I always thought the lessons, in quotes, they had us do were odd. I totally recall the headphones with the odd tones before the monotone speaking voice, which was a part of it as well. You put the headphones on, there's the odd monotone speaking voice. It tells you, all that. Yeah, I remember all that. Yeah. But yeah, if again, Becky Ann's videos, they're odd. They just they hit me where I live when I watched them. Talking about the tests, the workbooks, the the little tests where you have to predict the next shape, all of them, all of it. I was like, I remember, it brought me right back to those days. And I wondered what it was all for, right? What was the point? Because not everybody was taking them. I remember sitting in a room and not everybody was taking them, but I was. And I just wondered what it was all for, right? I didn't get it, and I didn't know what it was part of, right? But and Mrs. Wetterstrom she was a really cool teacher, but I didn't know what, I didn't get what it was for. I know that after a time I was told I had to move on from her class. It wasn't just that I was changing grades, but it was I was told I had to move on from her class. And that felt weird and icky that I had to move on. It was like I was being separated from her. Like, that was a weird deal too. I don't know how to describe that either, Mallie. Yeah. I don't know how to describe all of it. But yeah, I think the Gateway program, was looking for certain kids. I don't know what for, but for something.
Right.
We'll get that answer someday, right? All right. Man was charged, and this is one of the more popular stories that we got this week. A man was charged with stealing 100 human skeletons in Pennsylvania. The man is thought to have been responsible for a lengthy spate of grave thefts from a historic burial ground. The bizarre and grim case, which had left police investigators scratching their heads, was finally solved this past week when the perpetrator was caught red-handed with a crowbar and a burlap bag. Brought us right back to the 1900s.
Right.
Yeah. The robbing of graves at the 200-acre Mount Moriah Cemetery in southwest Philadelphia had been going on for months, with even mausoleums dating back over 100 years being targeted. When officers caught the culprit, they discovered skeletal remains in his car, and a search of his home revealed that he had taken over 100 human skulls and various other body parts. Some of the remains in his possession were over 200 years old. Yikes. According to Delaware County District Attorney Tanner Rouse, the thefts had all been undertaken under cover of darkness and away from the view of the public. The guy did everything in his power to secretly and silently grave rob, he said. Mount Moriah did everything they could to stop him from doing it. But as you can imagine, a cemetery that size, it is very difficult. The culprit ended up being charged with 574 counts of grave robbing, as well as a number of other crimes, including trespassing, burglary, and desecrating a public monument. The cemetery itself is thought to contain over 200,000 remains. Detectives walked into a horror movie come to life, said Rouse. Yikes. Ugh. And for what? I mean, it's not like you can sell bodies on the black market anymore,
Right.
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Hmm.
Universities aren't looking for them.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not just buying body parts,
Yeah.
out of a van anywhere.
Hmm.
So I don't know. Someone's
Right.
got a macabre interest, that's for sure. All right, we're going to switch things up a little bit here. Interesting story here, Mallie, that I found. And I don't know where you sit with this, but again, I got to get Timothy Hogan back on this show
Hmm.
because an interesting story was published out of the Daily Beast that says that secret CIA files confirm the Ark of the Covenant's existence.
Okay.
Yeah. The intelligence agency enlisted psychics to locate the mysterious chest by way of remote viewing. Again, remote viewing kind of comes our way. Resurfaced CIA files say the Ark of the Covenant has been found and that the sacred chest is protected by entities, as they say, by entities. That's in quotes. The declassified files show the intelligence agency enlisted individuals who claimed they had extrasensory perception, or ESP, in December of 1988 to search for the lost artifact by way of, and again, I'm have to pull up the rest of this article here. By way of remote viewing. One of the remote viewers allegedly used their purported psychic abilities to locate the chest believed to hold the Ten Commandments somewhere in the Middle East, as the language spoken by the individuals present seemed to be Arabic. They said the target, which they supposedly found using coordinates given by the CIA, was hidden underground, dark and wet, where all aspects of the location of the target, and that it's protected by entities and cannot be opened until the time it deemed correct or is deemed correct. The files, which were declassified in 2000, so they've known about it for a while,
Hmm.
also include sketches and drawings of what appear to be mosques, mummies, and a winged creature labeled Saradin. During the 1970s and 80s, the CIA deployed remote viewers in Project Sunstreak to locate far off targets using their purported abilities. The project was closed down in 1995. Huh. So you're saying there's a chance that Indiana Jones might find it after all?
I thought you told me that there was more than one.
There's supposed to be. Now, according to what I can't say according to what, but I'll just say there's supposed to be multiple arcs, and there's supposed to be power batteries. When we talked to Timothy Hogan the last time,
Hmm.
there's supposed to be multiple batteries. Um, and these arcs supposedly go in pyramids.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, but the Ark of the Covenant is just one of supposedly 13 or 14.
Hmm.
There's a little bit more to the story, but it's 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 intriguing. They say that I got to read a little bit more of this story, Mallie, because it's see this particular subject here is
Hmm.
always intrigued me, the Ark of the Covenant, and the fact that where they say it is, because the
Hmm.
this story here says that the report detailed one of these tests where remote viewer number 32 was given coordinates to locate a target, and they described the Ark of the Covenant hiding in the Middle East. Some historians have said that the Ark of the Covenant was originally kept inside the Holy of Holies, which is the innermost chamber of the ancient temple of Jerusalem before it disappeared during the Babylonian sack of Jerusalem in 586 BC. There's also a legend that it was taken to Ethiopia and now resides in a local church. Have you ever seen that feature before on 60 Minutes? Supposedly the
No.
Ethiopian location.
No,
There's
not the Ethiopian.
Oh, that's a fascinating feature. Okay, so the Ethiopian location supposedly there's a small building,
Mm-hmm.
and they have one guard who guards it for his entire life,
Okay.
and he's hired as a young man. He dies as an old man, and he
Okay.
always dies of cancer from the
Oh.
radiation of whatever's in that building.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they
Weird.
swear it's the ark that's there,
Right.
and it's his lifelong job to guard with his life whatever's in that building.
Hmm.
They never see it.
Right.
They're just told that it's the ark. So it's all faith. It's all faith based.
Gotcha.
And so they're faith warriors, and that's what they do. It's incredibly fascinating. I was glued to this piece watching this. See, it may be one of many that particular person is guiding or guarding
Mm-hmm.
rather in Ethiopia.
Yeah.
Um, but with this particular thing that this remote viewer was looking at, um, they say that the legend, there's also a legend that the artifact was taken to Ethiopia and now resides in a local church. Evidence that the chest existed has yet to be found, but the CIA document declassified in 2000 claims that it was discovered in 1988. The target is a container. This container has another container inside of it, the document states. The target is fashioned of wood, gold, and silver. It is decorated with a six-winged angel. The remote viewer continued to say that the coffin-shaped object is located somewhere in the Middle East and saw people in the area speaking Arabic. The remote viewer, however, was not told that they were searching for the lost covenant because before the experiment began. So there was nothing to tip them off. According to biblical history, the sacred gold-covered wooden chest was constructed sometime before or around 1445 BC. The Ten Commandments are a list of directives given to Moses by God, including rules such as thou shalt not kill and honor thy mother and father. Some historians believe the ark remained inside the ancient temple of Jerusalem for centuries, and during this time, only the high priest of the Israelites could see it. Even he was only allowed near it on Judaism's holiest holiday, Yom Kippur, and then it vanished. But the CIA document, a remnant of the mysterious Project Sunstreak, suggests the U.S. government has known where the Ark is for years. In the 1970s and 1980s, the Defense Intelligence Agency, or DIA, and several other intelligence agencies, including the CIA, employed individuals alleged to have paranormal capabilities as a means of acquiring intelligence about distant events. Project Sunstreak attempted to use psychics known as remote viewers to gather intelligence on targets using only coordinates. Remote viewers are supposedly able to project their consciousness beyond their bodies to observe a far off location. Um, Going a little bit further here, it said the psychic in question projected their consciousness beyond their body to search for the artifact, wrote down their observations. What he wrote was bone chilling, according to one observer named Hooper said. The target's located somewhere between the Middle East, or in the Middle East, as the language spoken by the individuals was Arabic. He went on to say the psychic described nearby buildings that resembled mosque domes and individuals clothed in virtually all white with black hair and dark eyes. One figure I honed in on wore a mustache. The target is hidden, underground, dark and wet, all aspects of the location of the target. The purpose of the target is to bring people together. It has something to do with ceremony, memory, homage, the resurrection. There's an aspect of spirituality, information, lessons, and historical knowledge far beyond what we know now. The target is protected by entities and can only be opened now by those who are authorized to do so. The container cannot be opened until the time is deemed correct. The psychic goes on to say that when this time comes, the mechanics of the lock system will be found to be fairly simple, and that anyone who attempts to open the container by prying or striking it will be destroyed by the container's protectors through the use of a power unknown to us. It is Indiana Jones. See? That's where Spielberg got it from. I'm telling you, Spielberg is told all these secrets by the CIA.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I think
his little hints.
I'm telling you, that's why I think Disclosure Day is actually real disclosure. What's coming out this summer?
Mm-hmm.
I think he's been told by the government everything about aliens. He's putting it on film. Call me crazy. Go ahead. You can call me crazy.
You're crazy.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, I don't know why I find that incredibly. I'm wasting valuable time here, Mel. But I don't know why. But I find that I just find it interesting.
Mm-hmm.
With that, again, interesting little tidbit of history. The oldest known evidence of poison use in hunting was discovered in South Africa recently.
Okay.
The discovery of a poisoned arrow tip dating back 60,000 years has served to rewrite the history books once again. A little interesting tidbit for you. Someone got a poison arrow 60,000 years ago. Probably didn't feel good. It was a black toxic residue on a bone arrowhead from a tomb at the Naga Eder archaeological site in southern Africa. So if you're playing Trivial Pursuit, make sure you remember that.
Gotcha.
Okay. It dated back 60,000 years ago. It's the oldest direct evidence for hunting with poisoned arrows. So keep that in your bonnet if you wear one. There's a side note. Also, the oldest known cremation in Africa poses a 9,500-year-old mystery. Another story for us to go down for a quick moment. The question is, how did Stone Age hunter-gatherers manage to build a fire capable of cremating human remains? Well, nearly 10,000 years ago, the base of a mountain in Africa, people's shadows were stretched up on a wall of a natural overhang in stone. They lit a ferocious fire that's been burning for hours, visible even to people miles away. That's how they burn people. They had cremation all the way back then. So don't let anybody tell you that cremation is a recent thing.
Well,
Yeah.
Vikings did it.
Yeah. Yeah. Not those Vikings. Because the Lord knows they'd be more successful. They would have had a better season. They say it's no easy task to produce, create, and maintain an open fire strong enough to completely burn a human body. While the earliest cremation in the world dates back about 40,000 years ago in Australia, the body was not fully burned. It's more effective to use a pyre, an intentionally built structure of combustible fuel. Pyres appear in the archaeological record only about 11,500 years ago. The earliest known example containing a cremated child under a house floor in Alaska. That's a little grim. Many cultures have practiced cremation, and the bones, ash, and other residues from these events help archaeologists piece together past funeral rituals. The scientific paper that they're talking about here was published in the journal Science Advances, describes a spectacular event that happened about 9,500 years ago in Malawi in South Central Africa, challenging long-held notions about how hunter-gatherers treated their dead. So yeah, funeral pyres in Africa. Kind of interesting. All right. Last story here today.
Okay.
I'm just kind of throwing random stuff at you here at the end of the program. When was the last time you placed a prop bet?
I don't think I ever have.
No?
I don't think so.
You don't ever place a prop bet around Super Bowl time?
Nope. I'm
Like
not a betting person.
no? You've never
Mm-mm.
put a bet on like who's going to appear with somebody at the Super Bowl?
Nope.
Like who's going to appear with Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl?
No.
Like is Pitbull going to get up there with him or anything like that? Oh,
Nope. But
okay.
that's a good bet, though.
It is a good bet, isn't
Yeah.
it? Well, people are betting fortunes, Mallie, fortunes on the fact that Jesus Christ could return and you could win big if he appears in 2026. I would say hold on to your money.
Exactly.
Plenty of people are staking their hard earned cash on the return of Jesus. And if you reckon he'll make a comeback in 2026, you could win big. That's
Mm-mm.
right. Holy rollers are gambling millions on whether Jesus will return for a second coming. People are placing 2.5 million pounds on betting that the Messiah would make a comeback on earth in 2025. 2.5 million pounds on whether he
Jeez
would. That
Louise.
was last year. Last year. Second coming flutters soared last Easter. For some reason, they thought on Easter he would. You know what? Don't call it a comeback. Just decided Easter would be the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for those who bet no against the possibility or probability of God's Son returning to mortals at that time, the investment returned a tidy annual profit of 5.5%. So it only paid off 5% on a no bet.
Okay.
So you had to bet $100 to get five back, or five
Okay.
five and a half
Okay.
bucks back. That's not. I mean,
No, not worth it.
yeah, it's not really worth it. But you know, but if you had $1,000 to
To waste.
to waste, sure, why not? Yet there were strong enough believers to keep the probability of Christ's return at the end of 2025 above 3%. Believe it or not. John Holden, associate professor of business, law, and ethics at Kelley School of Business at Indiana University, said he's not surprised that there were takers at the oddball odds. He said people buy lottery tickets despite astronomical odds. I guess.
Yeah, but a lottery ticket's $3.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. The Jesus bets were placed on prediction platforms Polymarket, which has been really popular lately, via the Will Jesus Christ Return in 2025 wager option. Polymarket and its rival Kalshi have generated plenty of buzz in the gambling community. Experts say the sites are regularly upheld as cutting edge ways to get reliable odds on crucial real world events. They include results of elections on the chances of war breaking out. There are stacks of bets on offer, from the frequency of Elon Musk's tweets to even late sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein turning up alive. See, I might place a bet on that one
Mhm.
just to see. Industry sources say the sites tap into trending social media topics and compare the flutters to having the same chances as the likes of using slot machines. One user has speculated online whether the Jesus comeback bet was established as some kind of tax avoidance scheme. Another gambling fan vented, "This is the dumbest market I've ever seen." Melinda Roth, associate professor at Washington and Lee School of Law, ranted, "A market like this is distracting. It also diminishes the value of actual prediction markets that provide insights and useful information. Despite the outrage, betting on religious matters has a long history. Blaise Pascal, the 17th century mathematician who pioneered concepts in probability, used the payoff calculations as one justification for belief in God, known as Pascal's wager. He argues it's more rational to believe in God as the potential reward of an infinite eternal life. It outweighs the infinite cost if the big man is non existent." He goes on to argue Christians, religious sects, and psychics have spent decades predicting when Jesus will return. Wagering on his comeback has now shifted to whether he will return by the end of 2026. Polymarket punters are currently giving it a 2% chance. making the gain on a winning yes at over 5,700%. $1 pays off 5,700 bucks. That's
Right, but he's got to rise. That's the problem.
that's what she said.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's got to rise.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I had told you earlier about canoes that in Wisconsin Lake that are older than the Great Pyramid. I'll get to this real
Mm-hmm.
quick, and then we'll get to our palate cleanser here. There's a groundbreaking archaeological discovery that indicated that an advanced culture existed in the U.S. at the time of the ancient Egyptians. The find, which was made during excavations of Lake Mendota in Wisconsin, consists of 16 ancient dugout canoes carved from individual tree trunks using primitive stone tools. Reports of the discovery first emerged in 2021, but over the past few years, additional excavations and research have revealed more canoes and many more details about the culture that built them. Archaeologists now believe that the oldest of the boats date back some 5,200 years, at a time when even before the Great Pyramid had been built, suggesting that North America was home to an advanced culture that may have even predated the ancient Egyptians. Whoever the people were, they are thought to have thrived for thousands of years, engaging in trade and fishing, as well as undertaking spiritual journeys across the region. Overall, the findings represent a major shift in what we know of the North America's history, rewriting the book on who might have been here long before settlers from Europe even arrived. These people were also highly skilled, as evidenced by the boats themselves, which require some advanced techniques to shape and build. Uh, Maritime archaeologist Tamara Thompson says archaeology is like putting together pieces of a puzzle. And the more pieces you can find, the better you can start to form a picture of what was going on and why during a period of history. Kind of interesting that there's a 5,200-year-old um, canoe out there from Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
That's for sure. Okay, palate cleanser for today. I told you an officer was turned into a frog, right?
Yes.
So the Utah Police Department is reporting that rather peculiar police report raised eyebrows recently, and unsurprisingly, things were not quite as they seemed. As part of efforts to improve efficiency and reduce paperwork, the Heber City Police Department in Utah recently adopted two new artificial intelligence systems, Draft 1 and Code 4, which automatically produce reports from police camera footage. While the system had been working well, and soon became apparent that something was amiss. This was clearly evidenced by the creation of one particular report that detailed how a police officer who had attended a call out had been subsequently turned into a frog. It turned out that the blunder had happened because the AI had picked up the audio from the movie The Princess and the Frog, which happened to be playing in the background at the time. Okay. Somehow it had managed to muddle up the movie's audio with what was actually going on. That's when we learned the importance of correcting these AI generated reports, Sergeant Rick Keel told Fox 13 News. Despite the mishap, however, the department is continuing to make good use of the AI systems. I'm saving myself about 6 to 8 hours weekly now, said Keel. I'm not the most tech savvy person, so it's very user friendly. So there you go. AI has mistaken the Princess and the Frog for turning a cop into a frog.
That's cute.
So there you go. That's your palate cleanser for today. Mallie, what's going on in your world?
Trying to think. Nothing much. Just going through old stuff and about to donate. So
Oh,
finding things I've totally forgot what I had.
oh, okay. I was going to say, you're not donating a kidney. That's not one of the things, right?
No, no,
Okay.
no. We're not donating organs.
Okay,
Just
good.
things in the house.
Okay,
So yeah.
good, good. All right. I was going to say it's
Mm.
nothing serious, right? Just
Yeah. No, 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 no. Nothing serious. Just going through the house. So trying to get organized.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's more like it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
nothing
Yeah.
Nothing you need time off for, right?
No, 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 not and yeah. Nothing paranormal, nothing health, nothing. I am just trying to get my life in order.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Right.
yeah, winter's downtime.
Yeah.
So, kids are wrapping up with sports. So, I'm just trying to breathe.
Right. Right on.
Yep.
Are they playing winter sports now?
Uh, yes. Luke is wrapping up with basketball and Ariana is cheer. So, Luke, yeah. And then Luke will start lacrosse pretty soon.
We're wrapping up winter sports already?
Mm-hmm. Basketball, yeah.
Holy
Eighth
cow.
grade basketball, yeah.
It's barely February.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yikes. Okay. Hmm. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Time is flying. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. How about you?
Well, what's going on here? Whole lot of the weather's been doing this thing. So it's like one day it's 14 degrees, the next day it's 39 degrees, and
Mm-hmm.
it's messing with me, something awful. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So I'm just busy being an old man. Going, I heard. Yeah. So other than that, like I had mentioned earlier in the program, working on getting some 20th anniversary merchandise out to you guys this week. So that's my main focus. So we've got that going
Mm-hmm.
on. Let's see. What else? What else? What else? Oh, it's on tomorrow's show. Tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah. So I got an interesting phone call. Um, phone call and email is what I got.
Okay.
So here's the deal. Um, this month I was hoping to emulate a lot of the first month of 2006, right? Our first
Okay.
year on the air as far as guests went,
Mm-hmm.
especially in this Thursday slot, right? As far as interviews go. Well, the third week in 2006, our guest was Rosemary Ellen Guiley, who's no longer
Oh,
with us. Yeah.
yeah.
And I had mentioned that with John last week, John Zaffis. Sometimes the universe has a funny way of filling things in,
Mm-hmm.
right? A couple weeks ago, I got an email from psychic John Russell. Now, John had asked me mid-year last year if I would do the forward for his book, his new book, which comes out this summer. And I believe it's 20 more ways to develop your psychic abilities. It's the sequel to the 20 ways to develop your psychic abilities book.
Mm-hmm.
I told him, sure, I'd be honored to. And recently, John sent out an email to his followers telling people that he was going to slow down a little bit because of health.
Mm-hmm.
He's had a little bit of poor health lately, and
Mm-hmm.
said he's going to limit the shows that he does. So
Okay.
he's going to, especially like he's been doing a lot of coast to coast AM lately.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's going to slow down, maybe not do as much coast to coast AM because it's late at night, things like that. And I thought, oh gosh, well, I hope he comes on this show because I did the forward for his book. Right. So I hope we see him this summer. And just as I'm thinking this, I get an email from him and he says, well, I'd like to come on the show. I said, is the book coming out already? Because, I thought it wasn't coming out till this summer.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, oh, the book's not coming out yet, but I'd like to have an audience. Well, I'm thinking, oh, geez.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I hope everything's okay.
Right. I know I always go to that. I always do the doom and gloom.
Right.
I never go to the positive thing.
Right. Yeah. Well, and, I mean, when somebody says not in great
Yeah.
health and then
Yeah. And then they're like, I would like to go on now. My book's not done, but
well, the book's done.
oh, okay.
Yeah, to John's credit, John writes way ahead of time. So
Okay.
when,
But
when
it's not going to be available though.
No. It's not available.
Okay.
It's not available for sale yet.
So,
But
okay,
like
okay.
when I did the forward for the book, he sent me like 4 chapters of the book. So I was able to read 4 chapters of the book and then do the forward. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, so I thought, well, who am I to say no? Right.
Mm-hmm.
Who am I to say no, John? Right. But I told him, I kind of have an appropriate spot for you, right? And because I need an old friend for that third week.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Rose would have liked you to be in that spot. So we have John Russell tomorrow.
Nice.
Yeah. So we'll have John Russell come on, and we'll just kind of chew the fat tomorrow. And
Very nice.
yeah, and we'll see what John's got in store and what he wants to talk about. So we're just gonna chop it up a little bit and have us a little chat. John's always got such good stories, you know.
Mm-hmm.
He's got some really great stories from. If you've read his books, The Cansack Ghost, he's got some really good spiritual stories, some really good ghost stories, um, stories about spirit, happenstance stories. So it'll be story time tomorrow on the program. So yeah, we'll talk to John tomorrow and see what's going on. As far as the rest of the month, I'll tell you, coming up at the end of the month, if you're a big fan of crime fiction and famous crime fiction writers,
Mm-hmm.
Robert Dugoni is on the program. Big crime fiction writer, famous crime fiction writer. So he's on at the end of the month. So yeah, with his latest. So yeah, big time stuff coming up. So yeah,
Good.
yeah. So lots of big stuff in store. So keep it tuned in here, folks. Yeah. So and again, if there's someone you want to see on the program, someone you'd like to see on the program, write me an email, tim@darknessradio.com. But the idea with this 20th year, as I've said before, is to continue to and we have all along here maintain the spirit of the program and
Mm-hmm.
keep moving forward, but at the same time, just maintain one little toe in the water in of the past, you know. So, but I feel like we've maintained the spirit of the program
Mm-hmm.
in this 20th year. So, and we'll visit with some old friends throughout this 20th year and catch up with them. So, I think it's an appropriate way to celebrate year number 20.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So that'll do it for this week. Again, if you're listening to this program and you're not watching this program on video, it's real simple. Go to YouTube, go to the original Darkness Radio on YouTube. You can like and subscribe there and pick us up there, or go to our website, darknessradioshow.com, and go to the show that you're looking for and just look for the video and the audio all in that one place where the show is. And then like and subscribe from there. If you've got the Apple app, Darkness Radio Apple app, make sure you refresh your app in the Apple Store because iOS 26 is out and you want the latest version. So please do that. And that'll do it for now. Again, join us for John Russell tomorrow right here on the Best in Paranormal Podcasting. For Mallie Fox, I'm Tim Dennis. Again, John Russell tomorrow right here on the Best in Paranormal Podcasting. This is Darkness Radio.
For more audio and video archives of the show, intriguing content, fun events, and cool swag, check out darknessradioshow.com. The executive producer of Darkness Radio is Troy Palmer. If you enjoyed today's show, please make sure you like and subscribe. This videocast is copyrighted for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this videocast, including video, audio, descriptions, or accounts of today's show, is prohibited without the consent of Darkness Radio Management. Thank you for watching. And be sure to join us tomorrow for the legacy of Eric Von Daniken and the first 12 days with Scotty Roberts.